The Southside Presbyterian Church is affiliated with John Fife, who is the founder of the sanctuary movement in the United States, and in fact conducts part of the class for the Samaritans.
In 1994, the same year that the North American Free Trade Agreement was implemented, the United States, for political reasons, said, we're going to try to control the border. We're going to control the border. And they're still saying it, of course. They said, if we replace in those urban areas the 8-foot cyclone fence, which is the border in those areas, with 18-foot steel walls, quadruple the number of Border Patrol agents, add technology, we believe we can seal off those urban areas from migration. And they said, we understand that once we do that, we know what's going to happen. People are going to start to go around, right? But the but was, now when they try to cross, they will have to go through their words in their planning documents were the most hazardous areas of the border. So what they succeeded in doing about the end of the 90s was funneling all the migration and drug trafficking right through the Tucson sector. And we have been the epicenter of that migration pattern ever since. Every one of those red dots is where they found a recovered human remain. If most of the death out there is from dehydration and heat stroke, we need to put water out in the desert. And so we formed an organization called Humane Borders that puts 55-gallon water drums out in sites. I think there are 45 sites now. The point was, we need to confront the Border Patrol enforcement strategy by documenting their violations of human rights in the desert, as well as saving lives. The Border Patrol tried to get us out of the desert, right? One of the other ways was they, with the approval of the command structure here, started destroying water on the migrant trails that we left, slashing the water bodies. And so we put motion-sensitive video cameras after a while on those sites and caught them in living color and gave it to the press and media. And suddenly they wanted to talk. And we reached an agreement in 2013 that recognized the camp as a humanitarian aid medical facility, and recognized No More Deaths and Samaritans volunteers as humanitarian aid workers, under international standards, Red Cross standards, as a matter of fact. And they agreed to stop slashing humanitarian aid on the trails and to train their agents in those Red Cross international standards, right? And that held for 4 years, and then we had an election last year. And so in May and June this year, the Border Patrol raided the camp again and took out migrants who were receiving medical care there and threatened us all with charges for harboring and aiding and abetting migrants. And the courts threw out those charges. So we're 39-0 in terms of our track record with our legal advocates, winning all of them and the government not winning any. Every nation has a right to establish a border and to enforce that border. They do not have a right, under human rights and international law, to kill thousands of people in that enforcement plan. Now, make sure you understand, it is the legal right of civil society, all of us, to directly protect the victims of human rights violations when government is the violator, and to hold the government accountable for those violations of human rights.